question is to the Treasury Board President, also acting Premier. She's also the Minister of Poverty Reduction. Since yesterday, the tally of union payouts has increased from $2.5 million, and it's tripled to $7 million. This is all unreceipted. Flies in the face of everything she tells this Assembly when she's wearing her Treasury Board hat. Yet in Ontario schools, breakfast programs are being cancelled. And this morning I learned in my own constituency, the Osgood Food Cupboard, which serves rural students and families, is bare. This is the consequence of your so-called net zero. $7 million would have gone a long way for those needy children across the province. If she's not prepared to rein in the Education Minister for ignoring Treasury Board targets to eliminate the deficit, and if she's not prepared to rein in the Education Minister in order to meet the accountability laws she has put in place, I would ask that the Minister of the Treasury Board stand in her place and tell the Minister of Education to get that money back into the education system, away from the unions.
Before I turn to the Deputy Premier, I'm going to remind all members, when you speak to the chair, it helps. That's the convention. I'm going to insist that we do that. It's speaking in the third person to the chair, please. Deputy
Minister of Education.
Minister of Education.
Yes, thank you. And I would like to sort out the facts here, Speaker. We agreed to a deal which is net zero with respect to compensation. We have always said that when we concluded negotiations at all the tables, we would be quite willing to discuss the details of those agreements. In fact, the $2.5 million that was transferred to the unions was part of 3 of those different net zero agreements, and we have always said that we would discuss those. There's no secret. It's part of those agreements which we were committed to doing. The $2.5 million, which was transferred to the unions to support the cost of collective bargaining, has always been part of the net zero calculation, and when negotiations are complete, we're quite happy to explain that.
Thank you. Supplementary.
You know, the squawking by the government has to stop, okay? We've got $7 million in unreceipted payouts to unions who spent $6.5 million in attack ads against the Progressive Conservative Party in the last election. If that doesn't embarrass the government, and not meeting their deficit reduction targets doesn't embarrass the government, if not following their own accountability laws doesn't embarrass the government, maybe taking... Sorry, Speaker.
Thank you. Goes for both sides. Please finish.
$1 million will get 4,000 needy students a breakfast program for 1 week. That is what the consequence is of your net zero. The union payouts are a misappropriation of tax dollars, plain and simple. As Vice Chair of the Public Accounts Committee, I'm going to table a motion tomorrow asking for the Auditor General to investigate the $7 million in misappropriated taxpayer dollars. So I am going to ask the Minister of the Treasury Board to not only support that motion, but to decide to upend and call the Auditor.
Minister of Education.
Yes, thank you. I can simply repeat that I'm not sure whether or not she has an understanding of net zero. Net zero means that, in fact, the agreement didn't cost the government anything, and the $2.5 million in question is part of the net zero calculation. And I have to dispense this entire notion that anywhere in the collective agreements that we have negotiated, there are no cuts to the classrooms. The number of teachers that are being hired is the same based on class size ratio. The number of teachers who were hired based on additional teachers are still in place and are still funded. There are no cuts to the classroom.
Question number